The first day of SS2 was supposed to be a fresh start for Ogechi, but deep down, she knew better. As she stepped through the school gate, adjusting her too tight uniform, she could already hear the whispers and giggles trailing behind her. "Say as she just dey shake like balloon," a boy muttered, just loud enough for his friends to burst into laughter. Ogechi clenched her fists, but kept walking, her eyes fixed on the classroom ahead. She had been dealing with these insults since JSS 1. They called her Orobo, Fatty, Boom Boom, and even crueler names. No matter how well she performed in school, her weight was always the first thing people noticed. Her only friend, Bukula, rushed up to her, panting. "Ignore them, Ogechi," she said, linking arms with her. "People like that are not worth your tears." "I'm not crying," Ogechi muttered, even though her throat burned. The morning assembly was like every other, long and boring. But the real nightmare began. During PE, Mr. Hassan, the sports teacher, announced that they would be doing endurance runs that day. Ogechi's stomach twisted. She already knew what was coming. The students lined up at the starting point, and the moment Mr. Hassan blew his whistle, they all took off. Within seconds, Ogechi lagged behind, her breath coming in heavy pants. The boys started laughing. Even some of the girls giggled, covering their mouths as they whispered to each other. "Are you running or crawling?" one of them sneered. By the time she reached the finish line, the entire class had already gathered, watching her with amusement. Mr. Hassan shook his head. "Ogechi, you need to work on your fitness. This is unacceptable." Her cheeks burned as she lowered her gaze. During lunch, she sat in her usual spot under the mango tree while Bukola tried to cheer her up. "Don't mind them," Bukola said, stuffing a spoonful of rice into her mouth. "They just enjoy putting others down." Ogechi sighed. "But what if they're right? What if I'll always be the fat girl no one takes seriously?" Bukola frowned. "Nonsense. You're smart, you're talented, and you can be anything you want." Ogechi forced a small smile, but her heart remained heavy. Later that evening, after enduring another round of taunts while walking home, she made a decision. Enough was enough. She was done letting people define her worth by her weight. She didn't know how yet, but she was going to prove them all wrong. And when she did, they would never laugh at her again. Ogechi stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. The insults from school echoed in her head, taunting her like a cruel joke. She had spent years pretending not to care, but deep down, it hurt. It hurt that people saw only her body and not her mind. It hurt that no one believed she could be anything more than the fat girl. But that was about to change. She sat on her bed and pulled out her notebook. On the first page, she wrote in bold letters, "How I will prove them wrong." She tapped her pen against her lips, thinking hard. There were many things she was good at: academics, writing, and even debate, but none of those would make people stop and stare in awe. She needed something unexpected, something that would shake the entire school. Then it hit her. Sports. It was the last thing anyone would expect from her. The idea seemed crazy, but that was exactly why she had to do it. If she could succeed at something physical, the one thing people believed she could never do, she would silence them forever. She flipped to a new page and wrote, "Wake up early every morning to jog. Eat healthier. Find a sport and train for it. Never give up." The next morning, Ogechi did something she had never done before. She woke up at 5 a.m. and put on her sneakers. The streets were still dark as she stepped outside. Her heart pounded. not from exertion, but from fear. What if someone saw her struggling and laughed? But then she remembered the humiliation she had felt the previous day, the whispers, the laughter, the way Mr. Hassan had looked at her with disappointment. That was all the motivation she needed. She took a deep breath and started jogging. At first it was awful. Her legs felt like they were filled with cement and her chest burned, but she kept pushing, one step, then another. When she could no longer run, she walked. And when she could no longer walk, she took a break and started again. By the time she got home, her entire body ached, but for the first time in a long time, she felt powerful. The next step was choosing a sport. Football and basketball were out of the question. She wasn't fast enough. Volleyball? No. Then she remembered something. Taekwondo. The school had recently started a Taekwondo club, but no one had taken it seriously. Most of the girls were too scared of getting injured, and the boys only saw it as a joke. But Ogechi saw an opportunity. During break time, she went to the gym hall where the club met. The instructor, a short, muscular man named Coach Ahmed, raised an eyebrow when she walked in. "You're here for Taekwondo?" he asked, clearly surprised. "Yes." Ogechi lifted her chin. "I want to join." The other students in the room turned to look at her. A few of them snickered. "Are you sure?" Coach Ahmed asked. "It's not easy." "I don't care." Her voice was firm. "I'll do whatever it takes." The coach studied her for a moment, then nodded. "All right, training starts tomorrow." Ogechi's heart pounded with excitement. For the first time, she wasn't just dreaming about proving them wrong. She was taking action. Ogechi arrived at the school gym hall the next day, her heart pounding with both excitement and fear. She had barely slept the night before, replaying different scenarios in her head. What if she embarrassed herself? What if the coach changed his mind? What if this was all a big mistake? But she shut out those thoughts. She was tired of living in fear. The other students were already warming up when she stepped inside. A few turned to look at her, whispering among themselves. She ignored them and walked straight to Coach Ahmed, who was stretching his arms. "You actually came," he said with a smirk. "I told you I would," she replied firmly. He nodded in approval. "Good, get in line." The training started with stretches and basic exercises. Ogechi had thought jogging in the morning was tough, but this was worse. Every muscle in her body screamed as she followed the drills, jumping jacks, push-ups, squats, things she had never done in her life. The other students breezed through them, but she struggled. She could hear them laughing. "See how she's breathing like a generator," one boy whispered to his friend. "She go faint." "Oh," another girl giggled. Ogechi's face burned, but she clenched her fists. Let them laugh. They won't be laughing for long. After warm-ups, they moved to the main training, learning basic Taekwondo stances and kicks. Coach Ahmed paired everyone up for practice. Ogechi was paired with a girl named Amina, who rolled her eyes as they stood opposite each other. "Try to block my kick," Amina said, lifting her leg. Ogechi barely reacted before the kick landed on her arm, sending a sharp pain through her body. Amina smirked. "You should just go home, fat girl. This isn't for you." Ogechi's vision blurred with unshed tears, but she refused to cry. Instead, she took a deep breath and squared her shoulders. "Again," she said. Amina raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Kick me again." Amina shrugged and kicked, but this time Ogechi moved awkwardly, but enough to avoid the hit. Amina's smirk faded. Again. This time Ogechi blocked it. It wasn't perfect and her arm still hurt, but she had done it. Coach Ahmed, who had been watching, walked over and nodded. "You're slow, but..." You learn fast. Keep practicing. For the rest of the session, Ogechi pushed herself harder than ever. She still made mistakes, but she refused to quit. By the time training ended, she was exhausted, drenched in sweat, and covered in bruises, but she had never felt more alive. As she walked out of the hall, someone called her name. She turned to see Chukwuemeka, one of the popular boys in school, standing near the door. He was tall, confident, and known for being the school's best athlete. "You were impressive today," he said. Ogechi blinked in surprise. "Me?" He chuckled. "Yes, you. I saw the way you kept going. Even when others laughed, most people would have quit." For the first time, someone was looking at her with admiration, not pity. A small smile formed on her lips. "Thanks." As she walked home that day, sore but proud, she realized something. She wasn't just trying to prove people wrong anymore. She was proving herself right. A month had passed since Ogechi started training, and everything had changed. She was no longer the girl who avoided attention, who kept her head down in the hallways, praying no one would notice her. Now, she walked with confidence. People still whispered, but their words didn't break her anymore. The biggest change, however, was in her body. She wasn't skinny, but she was stronger. Her arms no longer felt like jelly after a few push-ups. Her legs could deliver powerful kicks. Even climbing the stairs to class didn't leave her breathless anymore. Most importantly, she had gained something she never thought she would: respect. Bukola and her clique didn't taunt her as much. The bullies who used to throw insults at her in the hallway now gave her space. Some students even greeted her when they saw her. And Chukwuemeka, he had become one of her biggest supporters. "Keep going," he would say during training, encouraging her whenever she struggled. "You're getting better." But not everyone was happy with her progress. "I don't know why you're still trying," Bukola sneered one afternoon as they stood outside the classroom. "No matter how much you train, you'll never be one of us." Ogechi smiled calmly. "Good. I don't want to be." Bukola's expression darkened. But before she could say anything else, Coach Ahmed walked into the classroom. "I have an announcement," he said. "Our school has been invited to a Taekwondo competition, and I need to select the best students to represent us." Excitement buzzed in the air. This was a big deal. "I'll announce the final names next week," the coach continued. "But for now, anyone who wants a spot must prove themselves in sparring matches tomorrow." Ogechi's heart thumped. This was it. Her chance to show everyone that she wasn't just some fat girl trying to fit in. She could actually fight. After school, she stayed back to practice. Every punch, every kick, every block, she pushed herself harder than ever before. She had something to prove. When the match day arrived, the gym was packed with students eager to watch. Even those who didn't care about Taekwondo had come to see if Ogechi would embarrass herself. She was paired against Amina, the same girl who had mocked her during her first training. "You should have quit when you had the chance," Amina said as they stood on the mat. Ogechi didn't reply. She had learned something important over the past few weeks. The best response is action. The whistle blew. Amina moved fast, aiming a kick at Ogechi's side, but this time Ogechi was ready. She dodged swiftly, countering with a punch. The crowd gasped. Amina attacked again. Ogechi blocked. Amina tried to sweep her legs. Ogechi jumped. Then, with one perfectly timed kick, Ogechi knocked Amina off balance. The gym fell silent for a moment. Then, cheers. She had won. Coach Ahmed smiled. "Well done, Ogechi. You've earned your place in the competition." As Ogechi stepped off the mat, breathless and victorious, she caught Bukola's furious gaze in the crowd, but she didn't care. For the first time in her life, she wasn't defined by her size, by people's opinions, or by the insults they had thrown at her for years. She was strong, she was worthy, and she was just getting started. This story teaches us the power of resilience, self-belief, and perseverance in the face of adversity. Ogechi, despite facing judgment, jealousy, and competition, remains focused on her goal. She trains hard, stays disciplined, and refuses to be shaken by negativity. Her victory is not just about winning a match, but proving to herself and others that strength comes from within. Through her journey, we learn that success is achieved through dedication, confidence, and the ability to rise above doubts, both from others and ourselves. Additionally, the story highlights the contrast between true determination and destructive jealousy. Bukola represents those who undermine others instead of improving themselves, showing how envy leads to bitterness rather than growth. Ogechi's triumph, in contrast, is a lesson in hard work and sportsmanship. The moment of shock in the gym reminds us that true strength isn't just about physical power, but also mental resilience. No matter the obstacles, staying committed to personal growth will always lead to victory, both on and off the mat. To anyone who feels inferior because of their looks, status, or any other reason, remember this: you are more than what others see on the surface. True worth isn't defined by appearance, wealth, or background, but by your strength, determination, and the way you rise above challenges. The world may try to make you feel small, but the real power lies in how you see yourself. Believe in your abilities, embrace your uniqueness, and never let doubt steal your potential. Every great achiever once faced moments of insecurity, but they chose to push forward instead of giving in to fear. You have something valuable to offer: your dreams, your talents, and your resilience. Keep working on yourself, keep striving, and one day, those who looked down on you will have no choice but to look up. The greatest victory is not proving others wrong, but proving to yourself that you are always enough. You are worthy, you are strong, and you are capable of greatness. Thanks for watching. Please support us by subscribing to this channel, like the video, and share. You can also share your thoughts or experience in the comment section below. See you soon.